All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good news stuff for you today. And I want to start off by thanking everybody for joining in on Sotko Fest that went on from December 1st to December 9th. I thank you guys all for the follows, the subscriptions, the donations, just for watching if you were a lurker. I really appreciate that. A lot of crypto chat, a lot of gaming, whole lot of winning, so I really appreciate that, guys. But now we are back to the regular channel and looking to start off this right. So I appreciate all of those. So if you were a subscriber to the channel and you had no idea why not that many videos were uploaded during that week, that's why. But let's start this off with Bobby Lee predicts a 2,500 Bitcoin price bottom as a 15-month low nears, or lows near. Either way, same thing. The Bitcoin price could bottom at 2,500 in January 2019. BTCC co-founder, that doesn't roll off the tongue very well, co-founder Bobby Lee has forecast in his latest prediction. So on the back of the ongoing social media poll involving almost 5,000 participants, Lee, who is becoming increasingly known for his bullish price predictions, said a lot of buy orders and support would keep Bitcoin above 2,000. So I'll be very surprised if it ever hits 2,000 again, he wrote in December 8th. He said, I suspect there will be a lot of buy orders in support at both 3,000 and the 2,500 mark, but we will see. So I kind of agree with that. So the lower that Bitcoin goes, the more people are like, this is a great deal, this is a great deal, this is a great deal. So the lower it goes, the more money, goes a long way into buying Bitcoin and really starts to slow it down. Now, I have found myself in numerous situations as we approached 5,000. I said, well, we probably won't get to 4,500 or 4,200 because the lower and lower we get, the less profit S9 miners, ASIC farms, etc. are making, and they're just not going to want to sell their Bitcoin for any less than what it costs them to pay in electricity to actually do it. And then, turns out, 4,500, 4,200, into the 3,000s, and I thought to myself, couldn't get any lower than just 3,500. It's just, right now, nobody's making money with mining, or the GPU mining is making very little, and most ASICs just really aren't cutting it, unless you have, 1 cent per kilowatt electricity or something. But turns out, we still go lower and lower. So people right now, en masse, are mining at a loss. So this is Bobby Lee, Charlie Lee's brother, from then all-time high of USD 1,200 in December 2013 for next 13 months. So Bitcoin went down by over 87% to bottom out at just 150 in January 2015. Rock bottom. All hope is lost, question mark. But now, from December 2017, highs of 20,000 going down 80% would take it to 2,500. So maybe bottom out in January 2019. Now, I want to talk about this just a little bit. As you can see, the poll, most people believe that it's going to go well below 2,500, according to about 4,600 voters. Now, here's what I see happening. So there's a CBOE futures expiration on December 19th. I believe that is when we're going to see a nice little dip, but we'll have to see. That's just my guess. It's just something a little fun I got going on my head because CBOE futures has dumped every product that they ever picked up, whether it was silver or uranium, I believe, and gold I think they picked up and it went down a little bit, and then Bitcoin, the day they picked up Bitcoin in December 17th, it went down. So, weird correlation there. So, remember, guys, December 19th is another CBOE futures expiration. So let's see what happens on December 19th. Now, on January 24th, Backed Futures comes out, and so I think a few days, maybe a week before the 24th of January, we will see some kind of small bull run. Now, I don't mean to say, oh, we're going to go all the way up to 10, 20,000, but we're going to see a price increase because of the hype of Backed Futures. Now, people are going to be buying in because they think that as soon as Backed Futures comes along, the price is going to skyrocket. Is it? Nobody knows, but when it comes to the news in crypto and investing, news and hype is king indeed, and can raise prices. Now, what I think about that is that if on the 24th and around that time, maybe the few days leading afterwards, if Backed Futures really does not do a lot for Bitcoin in terms of raising the price immediately, I think we're going to see our low in February if that is the case. And 2,500 may not be out of the question, maybe even 2,000, if backed futures does nothing. Because if you think about it, and let's all just sit down, and this is story time, and sit at the fire here in our nice comfy chairs and on the bearskin rug, and think to yourself, what hype is there coming up in 2019? There really isn't any. The only thing I can think of is backed futures at the moment. So if backed futures fails to help the price of Bitcoin and crypto in general, then there is no hype to be found, and there's really nothing for people to be like actively and buying into Bitcoin again. So I think we'll see quite a low for a good while until something else comes along. So that is my take on all that, and we'll have to see. It's not really a prediction, it's just my opinion and what I think might happen from that. Moving on to the next article, Venezuela and Argentina are buying the dip. Something fierce here. So let me show you guys. Looking at the charts, one of the first things you notice is that Bitcoin purchases in Venezuela didn't really begin in earnest until the second quarter of this year. Since April 2018, the volume has increased from around 17 million to over 3 billion for the second week of December 2018, where it rises astronomically, as you can see here. This is the local Bitcoin's volume from the Venezuelan Bolivar, and wow, they aren't kidding. So people in Venezuela are buying Bitcoin in mass. This likely indicates a lack of knowledge, trust, or means to purchase virtual currency because using local Bitcoins. But as the economic situation has worsened and the government devalued the national currency by 95% from one day to the next, more and more Venezuelans are now looking to buy virtual currency. So before that, there was a little bit of lack of trust in it. And now Venezuelans are essentially looking to shield their wealth. So bills are really, really scarce. You go to the bank and they only give you a little amount, and they have limits. Even though you have the money in the bank, you can't take it out in Venezuela. The national currency inflation in Venezuela is something extreme, something the world hasn't seen in a very long time. There are many countries in the world that have hyperinflation. Zimbabwe was one of them, where you would walk around with a $10 trillion bill. Yes, it's a real thing, apparently, and a lot of people have them just as sort of a meme joke, just because $10 trillion bill, I mean, hey, look, I'm rich. It's probably worth like $2. And, of course, Germany in the 1920s, the Reichsmarks, people would walk around with barrels of money, wheelbarrows. In fact, the wheelbarrow itself was worth money than the entire contents of the wheelbarrow in money, just to buy a bag of bread. And that's kind of what's going on in Venezuela right now. Everything just costs a ridiculous amount, and it's terrible for their economy. So everybody's looking to put money into Bitcoin because once that goes up, they're going to be safe. And in any case, Bitcoin is not as volatile as the Bolivar, even though we're seeing prices going down and down and down, interestingly enough. So the article goes on to say basically Argentina as well. This is weekly local Bitcoin's volume from the Argentine peso. And as you can see, that is exploding as well because of inflation of the peso. So anywhere there is inflation, local Bitcoins is there to save the day, I guess, because Bitcoins are just selling like hotcakes in Venezuela and Argentina. So, this just goes to show that, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are actually more stable than a lot of world national currencies in fiat. With the inflationary system of fiat, every year you end up finding yourself, at least in America, which is not so bad compared to some of these countries like Venezuela and Argentina, you see about 3% 3% inflation a year. So that means if you put your money into a savings account, you got a nice crispy $1,000 and you're like, I wonder what to do with this. So you put it in your local savings account, right? What a great idea, so I can get interest. But unfortunately, most banks' savings accounts are about 1%, maybe 1.5% interest tops throughout the year. And that means you're actually losing money if you put your money into a savings account. You would have actually saved money by spending that money in advance, right? What? And so saving money anymore is something hard to do. So you need something better than a savings account. You need crypto, you need stocks, you need mutual stock, you need bonds, something better than a savings account, because if your savings account or whatever you're investing in does not give you at least 3% a year, you're actually losing money with the U.S. inflation of about 3% a year. And that means that every year gas goes up, milk goes up, bread goes up, every product goes up in price, but you're still getting paid the same. And if you work at a job and they say, okay, this year you get a 2% raise, and you're like, wow, 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 2% raise. All right, so I'm making a little bit more money this year. I'm doing a little bit better than I did last year. In fact, you actually lost money. You're actually making less money, again, because of that average 3% inflation. Keep on hodling. That's the goal of this. I don't know. That's the point. Moving on. Bitmain closes Israel development arm, citing crypto bear market. So cryptocurrency mining giant Bitmain is closing down its Israeli-based research and development arm. So according to a report from financial news source Globe's Bitmain Tech Israel and the firm's R&D center in the city of Ra'anana, I got nothing, is being shuttered due to the general downturn of the crypto market. So Israel is known for their computer programmers, and a lot of software comes out of Israel. So Israel's just huge for computer programming and research and development. So that's probably where a lot of the new development of Bitmain comes into play for like the S9, the S7, the S9, the S15. Likely a lot of that technology came from Israel to China to be developed, to be distributed to the world. So now that that arm is shut down, Bitmain is a little bit of trouble. So all 23 employees, all 23 of them, still, I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but 23, that's kind of it's funny. Including Bitmain's vice president for sales and marketing, Gadi Klickberg, who led the Israeli project, have been laid off. So only a few months ago, the firm had reportedly been planning to hire over 40 people at the center across research, engineering, and marketing roles. So they're going to hire like basically twice as many people as they actually already had. The crypto market has undergone a shakeup in the last few months. Oh, really? I was flying around planet Earth in a spaceship, and I haven't been on Earth in a while, which has forced Bitmain to examine its various activities around the globe to refocus its business in accordance with the current situation, Klickberg reportedly told local employees. So, So the crypto bear market not only affects the prices of all of our portfolios, but a lot of jobs as well, because at the end of 2017, beginning of 2017, you could go anywhere on any news site and even everywhere, and there was just crypto jobs everywhere, for blockchain development, etc. And now all that is starting to fall apart just a little bit. I assume that as soon as the market turns around, magically jobs will come back. Interesting. But with the Israeli shutdown and the R&D center and the Israeli shutdown, I think Bitmain is going to be a little bit of trouble, and I think they're not going to really develop many new things coming in the future. Considering that the S15, what is that, 25 or 30 terahash? I cannot remember. I barely pay attention to Bitmain because I don't think anybody should. But it's just not enough. These miners that are coming out, even the B1, or I think the B1 miner or something like that was like 50 terahash, that is basically like 4 ASICs combined and uses like 2200 watts, which is wildly inefficient, is just not good enough. It doesn't make anybody enough money in this market. The hash rate and the difficulty is so high that even a miner, I would say 100 terahash miner, is still just barely cutting it in terms of making a reasonable, decent profit anymore. So these ASICs are falling way behind, and now you just need so many of them to cut a profit. Yet at the same time, getting so many of them costs an extreme amount of electricity as well. So Bitmain going to be in a little bit of trouble here. So over 200,000 EOS accounts are dormant, and many accounts used by bounty hunters. So 400,000 EOS tokens have been stolen. So the 27 dApps with major vulnerabilities in EOS. So $740,000 in EOS tokens are now stolen. Moreover, there were 27 dApps identified by PeckShield's research team that have serious security vulnerabilities. Oh my God, EOS, so bad. It's so centralized, and they have a constitution in which they can just take your money away. I just don't get how anybody likes EOS. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're a bag holder of EOS and you're angry because people are fudding on EOS, Think about it. Think about it. A constitution where they could take your crypto, 20 or 21, whatever the magic number is, of node operators that make $3 million a year. You make zero, and they make $3 million for just going like this. This is how you run a node. Guys, this is how you run a node. Power button. Done. Maybe a click or two to bring up a couple programs. Done. It's over. $3 million for that. And, and now, I don't have to pay fees when I send my precious EOS tokens. Terrible. Oh my God. They made $4 billion, and they resulted in a terrible blockchain, terrible dApps, terrible development. And they're like, hey, we don't know how to fix these bugs. How about we make a bounty? And other people can. So instead of just hiring people with your $4 billion, let the people do it. So these security holes, users have been able to launch many attacks, resulting in the loss of over 400,000 EOS tokens, worth approximately 740,000 at press time. And that is only because EOS is, drum roll, I can't do it with my tongue very well, only $1.96, right? When EOS was $15 when I sold it, not a bad deal there. I sold at the top, or somewhere around there, whatever. $2. If EOS was $15 or $10 like it used to be, it would be a totally different story. It would be a lot of money, a lot more money. We'd be talking about millions here. So a Chinese cybersecurity expert said, most of these attacks appear to be related to several different types of vulnerabilities in EOS-based dApps, which are not linked to issue with how the EOS network was developed, even though the EOS network developed was garbage. Young Gang believes that there could be many cyber attacks that are actively trying to find and exploit vulnerabilities in the EOS network, because it's just absolutely horrible. So, guys, dump your EOS. Oh, man, get rid of that. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys this little flashback here. It was on Reddit, kind of juicy. It says, when Bitcoin hit $100, CNBC's 2013 coverage. Let's just watch a few minutes of this. It's kind of funny.
Bitcoin is an electronic online digital currency, was created about 3 years ago, kind of flew under the radar. Now it's starting to actually gain some traction. You exchange your dollars, you exchange your euros, whatever. You go onto these networks, and it's an accepted currency, and it's zooming in value lately. Just unbelievable how much this has taken off. And there are places that are beginning to actually accept this sort of universal digital currency. Kind of operates in the shadows, not regulated, but it's a total outgrowth of people starting to get worried about these currency crises, debt crises. Where are these things accepted? Still not a lot of places. I checked out online, not a lot of websites that you would recognize, but the places are kind of novelty clothing, gaming sites. Yeah, wait for it, porn, some of those places. But, there are a lot of drops.
So, turns out 5 years later in 2018, or maybe you could even call it 6, because we're borderline 2019 right now. Turns out a lot of places still don't accept it. More do, of course, in 2013, but still a lot of places don't accept it, and namely because of the volatility. If you're a major company and you accept millions or something like that in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin goes from 20,000 to 3,000, you're in a little bit of trouble there. You essentially lost all your money and sold a lot of products for borderline free. That's bad. Now, you could say, oh, well, they should have sold their Bitcoin. They should always sell their Bitcoin immediately. Well, that creates a whole other problem in itself. And also at the same time, if if Bitcoin is at $3,000 and you buy something with it, and then it goes to 20,000 a few months later, you know what I mean? You messed up. That taught you that you shouldn't have, sold your Bitcoin. You shouldn't have bought something in Bitcoin, because now it's worth, 6 times more than it was. So it's really hard to accept Bitcoin when it's so volatile. It's very easy to pay, individuals in it. Oh, I do this for you and you give me some Bitcoin, or I sell you this and you give me some Bitcoin. That's all fine. But when you're a massive retailer, the volatility is just way, way, way too dangerous for you. And I don't blame them, like Walmart, Amazon, etc., because you'd have to really watch that price and sell it all the time. Interesting that I remember 2013, and I remember Bitcoin going to $100. I remember Bitcoin going to $1,000 and then back to $100. And I remember there was always a big deal when some new store would accept crypto, because even he said in this news article here of 2013 that there's not many places accepting it. Weird websites that, like odd clothing outlets and gaming websites, even porn. I remember like mom and pop stores in New York City, like some antique store. We accept Bitcoin now, and it would be posted on Reddit or on the internet as a meme, to promote Bitcoin. And I always thought to myself, I'm like, well, that's all said and good. That's all fine and good that of course there's more people accepting Bitcoin in the world. But I'm never going to go to New York City and go to that specific mom and pop antique or lamp store and buy something. I mean, well, that's all great for them. But, that doesn't really help me. I want to be able to buy on Amazon or Newegg, or which Newegg did accept it. I don't even know if they accept it now. They did, and then they didn't, and then they did, and I don't know. Who knows? Newegg, just one or the other. Newegg, come on, one or the other. And, so now we have some more websites. Now we have some more companies that do it, and more accepting it throughout the globe, and that's great. That's development, that's progress, but still not that many people. So this is sort of an interesting video. So you guys can look up this video on YouTube. It's just when Bitcoin hit $1,000, CNBC's 2013 coverage. It's just kind of interesting to go in the past and have people talk about like, whoa, what is this new digital currency is now at $100? Whoa, and we were at $20,000. So, wow, what a difference. Buy $1,000 in Bitcoin. Back in the day, you get 10 Bitcoin, and it went to 20,000, and boom, $10,000 into $200,000 right off the bat. So, what a world that we live in. Now, moving on to coin market cap here, we're at 110 billion market cap. Let's go ahead and refresh and see what we're at. Still 110. Bitcoin dominance is higher than ever. It's still going up now, not at its all-time high, but it's still slowly creeping up over the past few weeks. Now at 55% dominant. So that means altcoins are dropping way faster than Bitcoin is. Proportionally, rather disproportionately. Stellar at only 11 cents, Bitcoin Cash at 106, Bitcoin SV 95, so Bitcoin Cash is starting to go below Bitcoin SV. Interestingly enough, Tether is now 5th place. Stellar is now 4th place. We have had a total shuffle. If you look at CoinMarketCap 3 months ago, you would see a completely different CoinMarketCap. You would see Ethereum at number 2, XRP at number 3. Stellar used to be at 6, 5, and Bitcoin Cash was at 4. And so we've seen this total shuffle. Litecoin is down to 9 now. Interesting. For a while there, I saw Bitcoin SV actually overtake Bitcoin Cash for a little bit there. EOS is now down to 7th. So very interesting market we have here. Now that XRP is in the 2nd place, it's now in a very dominant position. For a while there, Ethereum and XRP were like this, very close, and once in a while, XRP would take Ethereum, and then Ethereum would take it back. But now there is a $3 or $4 billion difference between the number 2 and 3rd spot. So quite the difference. Very interesting crypto market we have going on here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. And as usual, I will see you guys next time.